Most Excel users know SUM, but almost none of them knows SUMIF, SUMIFS, SUBTOTAL, and AGGREGATE. Hello and welcome to Ben Academy. In this video, I want to show you the differences of these functions and what's the advantages or disadvantages of each function, and when you should avoid using SUM because of the problems in messy table. Let's go to the file. I'll show you the application of each function. The first function you can use, as I told, is SUM for adding some values. Suppose there is a table here, date, day of the week, and type of the expenses, and the amount that is paid for different purposes. If you write at the end of this column SUM by completing the writing or choosing the suggested function in the menu, you can use the function. You can select numbers one by one as it's written as a pattern like this. But it's better to select a range. If the numbers are continuous, it's better to select the range like this with mouse, or in a more professional way, you can use keyboard shortcut that I taught in another video to you, selecting a cell in a range and pressing Ctrl Shift and up. You can see that whole the range is selected, but the first item should be omitted. In this case, you can manually edit it. Instead of 2, you can write 3, or you can drag the selected area like this. By using enter or closing the bracket and then enter, there's no difference. You can see that the sum is calculated. But you may know that another button that is predefined in Excel is AutoSum, and Excel automatically can understand which row or column should be used, and it can understand that which range should be used. And here you can see that the first item, that is title of your table, is not selected here, and you can use AutoSum like this. There are some other ways also to use SUM with shortcuts. If you use Alt, then plus, and then equal sign, you can see that it's written SUM, and it's similar to AutoSum, pressing the AutoSum button on the Home tab of Excel. The other way is also available here. If you select the range by dragging or using the keyboard shortcuts and Ctrl Q, you can see that some predefined functions for formatting, for drawing chart, and some other tools and other things are available. In the tool part, you can see SUM, and if you choose SUM, the SUM is automatically selected, and the value is bolded with this bold option here. If you want to add a condition to summation, suppose you want to only sum the expenses related to groceries or transportation, or the expenses in specific day of the week, or in Fridays, or in some specific dates, you should separate the dates, separate the values related to dates, or related to the type of expenses, to draw a big table and add some function at the end of those columns. But in a simpler way, you can only write a function as SUMIF. I'll show you. If you write SUMIF, first you should select the range that criteria is valid in that range. For example, if I want to select and add the numbers related to groceries, I should first select the range of type like this, and then say that my criteria is groceries, in double quotation, groceries, like this. And then I should specify the sum range. If you don't specify it, range and sum range would be the same in Excel 9. But in this case, they are not the same. So I should choose the values, the numbers of expenses like this. And you can see that this amount is related to summation of expenses of groceries. You can also do with other types, for example, healthcare. I wrote something wrong here. Yeah, healthcare. You can see that the items related to healthcare is separated. If you want to add criteria on other columns, you can also do this. If you want to separate the expenses in Fridays, you can see that you can write Friday and select the range as Friday. You can also work on the dates, and you can say the dates before 1st of February be calculated, or the expenses related to January. But if you have two or more than one conditions, you should use some ifs by adding some conditions and adding some constraints to summation. In this way, you should first select a sum range instead of a criteria range. So here I should select sum range like this from D3. Then I should add a criteria range. So the syntax is completely different. You should take care. You cannot convert the SUMIF to SUMIFS easily. Here, I specified this criteria range and then the criteria. I will write something like this, greater than end of January, I mean the expenses in February. And another criteria to specify the type of expenses like this, to mention that only calculate the expenses related to, for example, groceries. Okay, I will see that only the expenses of groceries in February is separated. These are the items that you can see are added together. And you can see here that the sum is the same amount I calculated using SUMIFS here. In all the cases, in SUMIF or SUM, you can also select a not continuous range. For example, in SUM, you could select a range like this from D3 to D6, then this item, then these items, and this separately, but I can sum all of them together. In SUMIF, you can also do this, and you can specify the range by selecting specific ranges that you want. It's not necessary to select whole the column. It depends on your criteria and your condition. But in some cases, I'll show you the problem and then I will say the solution. If you add a filter here and if you separate some of data and remove some of them from view, it's actually hide it, and you can see that some rows are hidden here. So if you use again sum, you can see that the total sum is calculated again. It's the same value that I calculated before. You can see $14,108. But it's important that what you really want. If you really want the total sum, it's okay. But in some cases, after filtration, you want to obtain the new summation. You want to know in the filtered data how much is the total summation and total costs. So in this case, the solution is using subtotal. Let's show you. If you have a filter and if you remove some expenses like this, by default, if you choose AutoSum from Excel menu, you can see that subtotal is selected. But let's show you what's subtotal function and what is 9 here. If you select it, if you use it, you can see that the summation is different and it's related to the filter data. Let's write it manually to show you. Subtotal. There are some other statistical functions like average, count, maximum, minimum, and some other functions that you can use them in statistics. But I want to use sum, so I will write 9, or I can choose sum from this menu. And now I will select a range like this. So the total summation is now related to the filter data. The more interesting thing is that if you add more filters like this, you can see that the summation is again updated. If you remove January and only include the February, you can see that it's again updated. And you can do the same thing you did with SUMIF here. You saw that I selected the groceries in February. In this case, you can also do this by choosing groceries and then removing January. You can see that it's the same value I obtained with SUMIFS. So it's another way to calculate the total costs or total number or sum of any type of numbers you have. Another function that is a more general version of subtotal is aggregate. In some cases, you want to do more than ignoring the hidden rows. You know that if you add hidden rows again and hide some more rows, again the total sum is updated. So subtotal is used to ignore hidden rows. So by hiding the rows, subtotal is updated. But in some other problems, if you have a messy table and some of your data are included some errors like this, you can see that the subtotal doesn't work. So the solution is using the aggregates. So as I told, the more generalized version of subtotal is aggregate, and you can ignore different items by using the options in the syntax of this function. You can ignore the cells that include the subtotal and aggregate functions. Suppose here I have written subtotal. I want to add another function here by aggregate, and then choosing the sum again 9. Here I want to choose the option. If I want to ignore the value or everything that is written here related to the functions of subtotal or aggregate, I should choose one of the items related to ignoring those cells. In some cases, I've written a summation here. I want to add another summation in the below cells. For example, in the sum, you can see that if you choose again the sum like this, it's twice the real value, and sum is again used in the summation. To avoid this mistake, you should use aggregate to not use subtotal and aggregate functions in the above cells. Sometimes the table is divided into specific parts. For example, a sum is added here using subtotal, and if you add a subtotal again, this sum is also can also be included in the new summation. So for ignoring these cells containing these functions, it's recommended to use aggregates to avoid any mistake. And also you can ignore hidden rows as subtotal did before, or ignore error values. It's very useful in messy data. If you have a big data including errors, including some problems, it's better to use the number 3 to ignore hidden rows, error values, nested subtotal, and aggregate functions. It's the most complete option in aggregate function. And ignore nothing actually is the same sum, and ignore hidden rows is the same subtotal. Ignore row values is another thing, and ignore hidden row and error values. So let's use it, and I'll show you if I have an error here, another error like this. In this way, and also let's add a filter. For example, Saturday, Sunday, and Friday. If I want to use subtotal like this, I will see that it's not corrected. But if I use aggregate, sum, and then I want to exclude the nested subtotal function in cell 49, and also errors, and also hidden rows that are filtered here, I'll use the option 3 here, and then I can select the range without any worries. So I can see that the total value is calculated in a correct way. So in these cases, it's much better to use aggregate instead of subtotal and sum. The other thing I want to show you is avoiding the problems such as having a blank cell and also a cell that is actually text value, as you can see here. If you want to sum whole the data like this from first cell to the end, you can see that it's calculated, but you're not sure that what's happened in this item. If I delete this cell, I will see that the summation is again the same, and it's not included in the summation with sum. And it can also not be included in other functions, as I introduced to you, subtotal and aggregates. All the numbers used in these functions should be really a number, not a text value. If you import a table from some other softwares into Excel, in many cases, numbers are text, and you should convert the numbers first to real number from text. To do this, you can use a function like this, number value, in another column, and you can do it for all the cells in the adjacent column. In this specific example, I want to show you that if I write here number value of 111 and change it to number, again entering, it's now a real number and it's now included in the summation. You can see that it's now different. So it's really important to add numbers and not add text that is written as number. Another case that you should take care is summing data with a blank cell. A blank cell is different than zero cell. If you want to do some calculations on data, you will understand that there are some differences. If you, for example, want to average all the data like this from beginning of the table, from D3 to D48, the problem of text value is now resolved. But there is another problem here with blank cell. If you calculate the average, you can see it's now 310. But if you change it to 0, you will see that it's now 304. In the case that it was a blank cell, it was omitted, it was excluded in summation and counting. But if you write 0, it's actually a number and it's included in summation and counting. And as a result, in average, you can see that it's effective. In the sum, it seems that there's no difference. But if you use the sum value in other purposes like averaging or other functions, you will understand that there's a problem. So in a messy table that includes blank cells, text values, error values, and hidden rows, take care of using simply sum function. I hope this video was useful for you. Thanks for watching this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe. See you in other videos.